everyone. Welcome back to the channel. Today, we're taking a deep dive into the fascinating world of GitHub Copilot. From gathering context to producing code suggestions, we'll guide you through every step of the GitHub Copilot flow. So stick around to see exactly how Copilot powers your development process. The GitHub Copilot flow process starts with the developer who authenticates to the GitHub account, and the developer seat is validated, and any pertinent policies from the enterprise or the organization level are applied to the developer. These are the GitHub Copilot policies. And context is gathered to be sent to the large language model from the IDE. Some examples of content that's gathered by the Copilot agent service will be the tabs. These are any files that are opened in the IDE, any prompts that are provided by the developer, such as system or user prompts to indicate what the developer wants to do. Any file references that are also specified, as well as URL references. Anything in the editor that is above or below the cursor are also collected as context. Together, the prompts and context are then sent past the corporate firewall to an Azure hosted proxy, and this proxy will filter that information to remove any personal data that is detected, any toxic language or inappropriate language, such as hate or violence. It also ensures that only relevant information is sent, anything that relates to coding, actually, and this is for the chat experience. And it will detect any attempts at prompt hacking, also for the chat-only experience. After this information is filtered, it is then sent via HTTPS encryption, that's TLS encryption, to the Azure OpenAI large language model that is selected, and it uses confidential compute to secure the information, even in memory. So this is to enhance security and privacy and involves using a trusted execution environment. This protects the data while it's being processed, and it also ensures that the data remains encrypted and isolated in memory, which safeguards it from unauthorized access, even from cloud operators and administrators. The data store is FIPS2 compliant because it uses advanced encryption standard 256 encryption at rest with RSA 2048 encryption keys. And at this point, the model, the Azure OpenAI model, will produce one or more responses. But after it produces those responses, the original prompt and context that were sent from the IDE gets discarded. So it is not kept, it is not retained. Now, if the developer is using an individual subscription, a personal subscription, and they did not opt out, then this context and prompt information is kept, but it is not used for training the models. Also for the CLI, mobile, and github.com experience, the information here is retained, the conversation history, for 28 days. And this is for continuity of page navigation and your browser sessions. But it is also not used for training the GitHub foundational model. Anything that's feedback related, like user engagement data, is kept for 24 months, however. And now the Azure OpenAI models will send the responses back after they have been generated back to an inbound proxy, and that proxy will perform some post-processing tests for code vulnerability, anything that is an obvious bug or any common vulnerabilities such as cross-site scripting, SQL injection, or path injection attempts. Personally identifiable information is detected and also filtered out. These may include IP addresses, email addresses, GitHub URLs, or hard-coded credentials. There's a duplication detection filter. This is for suggestions matching public code, and this is based on the enterprise policy or an organization level policy that is applied in the GitHub account. If there is public code matching up to 150 characters, it is also filtered out. Now, typically, this is only about 1% of the suggestions, and this is usually applied only when sufficient context is lacking. If a match is found, that suggestion is discarded and the next in the queue is evaluated. It also goes through an intent classifier filter. This is to ensure that suggestions are indeed coming from an actual user writing software. So now, after this information is filtered on the inbound side, going back to the Copilot agent service, the Copilot agent service will format the response to ensure that it includes syntax highlighting, any indentation is applied, and it may also include references, and it will present one or more suggestions that were produced to the developer, who may accept, reject, or partially accept these suggestions. Also, these suggestions are actually discarded as well. They are not retained. They are just discarded after they are provided. And that's the last step, when these suggestions are indeed provided back to the developer. And this completes the loop, what goes on behind the scenes for the GitHub Copilot-Flow process. All right, we've just mapped the entire GitHub Copilot data pipeline, everything from context gathering to secure data processing and presenting actionable suggestions. But the process isn't complete without you, the developer. It's your job to review these suggestions, tailor them to your needs, or provide feedback to make Copilot even better. Okay, let me know what you think in the comments. And if you enjoyed this, make sure you like and subscribe for more updates. Thanks for watching, and see you in the next one.